Welcome to TMI Today with Rita and Jen Lee. In this podcast, there is no such thing as too much information. We are diving into all of the taboo topics, from money and careers to relationships and parenting, to whatever else we've been too afraid to discuss as women. Listen in and join the movement as we raise each other up in our everyday lives.
Welcome to another TMI Today's Motivational Insights. I am super excited today, because we can never have too much information about philanthropic groups and events. And today we're going to bring a special guest in to talk just that. And the we is Jen Lee and me here to have fun with our guests and really gain a little bit of insight today. I know you and I, Jen, we align on philanthropic work because really philanthropy and philanthropic work really is a driver of supporting so many things where there are so many gaps in the world. And I think really putting people in a better position in life and then actually helping us all. It's that I think the philanthropic groups are the rising tides that raise all ships, or the village, those cliches that I go back to all the time because they're true. And here we get to have Rosetta Henderson shine because she is not only a personal friend of mine, but an amazing philanthropic woman who I say in her spare time works and does philanthropic work all the rest of her waking hours, which are a lot, just doing good in the world and sharing. And I wanted to bring her on to share a little bit about philanthropic work and misconceptions maybe that might be out there, what's near and dear to her heart. And Rosetta, I am just we're so super excited to have you here. So welcome, Rosetta. Thank you for being here with us today.
Good morning, and thank you so much for the invitation. And Rita and Jen, I must say, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am very, very humbled that you guys chose me to be on this podcast today. And I just want to share a little bit about why I do what I do. Again, my name is Rosetta Henderson. One of the reasons I give back, because I really think in the spirit and kindness and give back.
Yep, that's okay. This is, we will live things happen. So no worries. Pick right back up.
Absolutely. I believe in karma. I believe that when you give to someone else other than yourself, even though you may not see it automatically or you may not see it for years, but you do give back what you give just in a different way. It's not always about monetary giving. It's not always about let me shine. It's about helping someone else other than yourself. And for me, that is such a great accomplishment because I have an opportunity now to not only smile, to help someone else reach their goal, to help someone else see that change can happen. Because I'm from a family of 9. It was total of 11 of us. We all have the same mom and dad. Everybody always asks me that. Yes, we do.
Great clarification.
Right. And they were married for over 50 years till my father transitioned. So for me, I didn't realize that what I didn't have, or as people probably would say today, that we were poor. Because again, I'm from Mississippi. We had an outhouse. We bathed in a tub. I did not have one bathroom until I was probably 13. And I'm number 7. So out of 9, everything that I had was hand-me-downs. Believe it or not, ladies, even from underwear. I wore my sister's underwear after she was done. So for me, I didn't realize because we all was from a small town and we all had the same have or have nots, depending on how you look at it. For us, we never went hungry. We never went without shoes, clothing, the basic needs. So for me, we were, I guess, one of the rich ones, if you want to say that. I shared a room with my sister till I was like 16. So we eventually built on more rooms. And then as adults, we got older, and of course, we moved out and moved on with our lives. But that taught me a lot. One, it taught me to how to be humble, how to understand that we all start from a different place, but yet we all want the same thing. And that's to take care of our families, to have a roof over our head, and to have some of those material things that in this world we need. So, how could you not help someone else? It, to me, it's just so natural. I just can't imagine my life being without helping someone else, whether it's just a simple hello, or whether it's what can I do for you today, or whether I see an elderly person that needs some help, that's struggling, how can I help you? So that's the way I was raised, and that's in my DNA.
I love that, Rosetta. While you were talking, I think more people have these stories than don't. And I love that when we bring them to light, it just kind of normalizes things. I'm going to say I was very blessed, middle income America, suburbia, um, abundantly blessed, had more than enough, had my own room because I was the only girl. And,
Oh,
my brothers shared a room. And when I met my husband, who is from Italy, different dynamic, right?
mhm,
He and his two sisters and brothers, till they were in their teens, shared the same bed. There's only one bed, right? So there's
mhm.
two bedrooms. That's it. The clothing, same situation. The tub, same situation. So, and like eating chicken would be a delicacy in a month,
Yes.
right? So it's those kinds of things. And I think that, yes, I think when we focus on a life of love and giving, I think the other piece is the mental health piece, which I think
Mm,
the family bond, as you're talking, it's like, not only were you missing this, not missing the essentials, right? Food,
right.
shelter, clothing, but the bond that kept it all, both your parents, gosh, over 50 years, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And, I'm sure not all times are easy. And so,
No.
we get to be real in today's world and connect with people knowing, hey, that is real. This is what
Right.
we go through. And we just get to make things better as we move on. How do we do that? It's not looking into us, it's looking outside of us, like you're expressing today. And I love how beautifully you shared around that. So tell me a little bit about some of the philanthropic works that you've done or are doing currently, as because I know there's more than one. I know
Yes.
there's one that's near and dear to your heart because you decided to take leadership. And this is another thing, leadership. This morning I was coming up with ideas as I do for when I want to work and connect people. And leadership was another word that came up. So you are president of the Bloom Again Foundation, but I'd like to
Yes.
hear about, you do so many where you're working at right now and seeing that growth and the community really coming together. I find that there's healing in that because there's love and connection in it. It's all that focus. So share with me a little bit more, and Jen, share with both of us a little bit
Mhm.
more about that.
Thank you, Rita and Jen. Well, I'm the president of Bloom Again. It is a 501c3 organization, and we help women. We help women who have had any type of medical challenge. We are a very small board, it's about six of us, and all of us work full time jobs. So I call this my play job because it's my play job because I love to do it. So to me, when you love to do something, it's not work. So, being the president of Bloom Again, I get an opportunity to help women rise. Most of these women, if not all of them, are below the poverty level. So that means, some of them are single, some of them are married, they come from different backgrounds. But when you look at, and I know this firsthand, even though I didn't realize it at the time, when you look at people that have a medical challenge or a medical situation and they are head of the household and they're barely making it already, and now they have a medical condition, how can they heal if they're worried about paying their rent? How can they heal if they're worried about paying their utilities? How can they heal when they're worried about feeding their kids because now they can no longer go to work? They don't have income. They don't have the blessings that a lot of us have when we work in corporate America. 401k, sick days. If you don't work, most of these women do not get paid. So I believe that when we help them at Bloom again, when we help them get back on their feet, when we help them rise, then perhaps they can stay where they are and do better and be doing better. I mean, not becoming homeless. Because I don't know too many landlords other than during the pandemic that it was a moratorium that they'll let you stay without paying your rent.
Yeah, that's so true. And I'm going to say, when I first did our introductions, you know, a lot of people end up needing Jen's services as the financial stress reduction extraordinaire because, these women are really dealing with like almost homelessness. And many people, because of what you have just described, deal with things about credit and debt and foreclosures. And Jen
Yes.
can definitely speak more to this than I can, as it being very relatable to maybe having organizations like Bloom Again around that fill that gap need. Um, because sometimes it's like they may not be, Jen may be able to work with them, but she may not, right, Jen?
Yeah, and it's hard to focus too. Like you get to the point where
Mm-hmm.
there's too many things flying at you. You make poor decisions because you just can't make educated decisions. You just have too many things coming at you. So it's a fantastic way to bring people up by helping them
Yes.
with some of the basic human things that we need.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I want to share with you, of course, I work with the Los Angeles Boys and Girls Club. The reason I work with the LA Boys and Girls Club is because this community is south of downtown, right off the Fry Freeway by Boyle Heights. And if anybody's familiar with that area, these kids are trying to go to school, but at the same time, they're in five infested gang territories. So they're trying to go to school. And if you know anything about gangs, they really like to get them young because if they get caught, they won't get as much time, right? So these kids are really trying to just go to school, get an education, do better, but you have these outside influences. You also have, in a lot of cases, a single mother who has five kids who really can't put food on the table. And now I'm trying to send a kid to school to learn. How can you learn if you're hungry? How can you learn if you don't have your basic needs, like what we take for granted, which would be toothbrush, toothpaste, shampoo, soap? You guys know, everybody that have ever went to school, you can't go to school smelling, you can't go to school with tattered clothes, even though that's all you can afford. Kids are super mean, I think more than when I came up in the 60s. They're even more, and with social media, it really puts it's good in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways, it helps kids to be even nastier because I can't think of any other word right now. So I try to help the Boys and Girls Club collect these supplies free of charge. I give it to them. I help them collect food. I help them collect clothing so they could help these young people be the best they could be. Because you have to really, and this really sounds cliche, but you have to really believe it in order to achieve it. And you have to have someone there. And some people just need a helping hand. They don't want a handout. They just need a helping hand. And that's the difference. So for me, helping them help those young people is something that I've been doing for now probably over 10 years. I've been doing so many volunteer opportunities and giving back that sometimes I don't realize that I will go above and beyond to today's standard, but to me, it's just doing what I was put on this earth to do. I just can't imagine doing anything else. I just can't. But I do work a full-time job, believe it or not. And I do that because I like being housed. I like, when I get up in the morning and it's a little chilly, I like being able to turn on the heater. So I just can't even imagine not helping someone else have that same hand and opportunity. If I can help them, why not? That's what I ask. If I can help, why not?
I so love that.
I think that's what a lot of people think of philanthropy and as money, like you have to be giving money, and that only rich people have the resources to do this.
Yes.
And I think what I love the most about you, Rosetta, is that you're focused more on the like, what can I do for someone to help them versus what can I give someone to
Yes.
help them. So I love that.
And Jen,
Yeah.
and let me tell you, that comes from my background as well, because my mom and dad used to always tell us that you can help a person, but they got to want the help. And you could take a fisherman to fish, but at some point he got to learn how to do it himself. And
Mhm.
so that's where it all really come back to, is that I could show you and I could tell you all day, but I can't want it more than you want it, right? And,
Yep.
again, being poor, one of the things that my dad used to say, the best way to help a poor person is not to become one of them.
Mm.
Think about that for a moment.
That's a good point.
Yes, exactly.
Ooh, there's so many possibilities. Like my brain and wheels are turning right now.
I know. I can see Rita's like wheels going around now. Like, where's she gonna take this?
Yes, yes.
I have the ideas that we get to talk about. Oh my
Okay,
goodness. I mean, I'm just going to throw this out there because for people
go
in the
for it.
world, like my brain is like, wow, what if we got to do sponsored kids scholarship and pay these kids to learn around money and get a money education when they're young,
Yes.
which puts them way ahead of the game, builds their confidence, and it's a win-win. And I don't know, that's just what came into my head. You
Love
never know,
it.
I'm putting out there anybody that wants to sponsor kids. And I think we get to figure out what the sponsoring, because this is the other thought that was coming to my mind, because you're talking about kids who, we could do a scholarship to college, but some of them might, that's too far
Right,
reaching. It might
right.
be a scholarship of, a recipient for groceries or food or clothing or something like that. And that we're rewarding children for learning and creating a skill set that shifts their change. But that's just me.
Rita, can I add to that? Because I love that idea. Because, when I was growing up, they taught home economics. So you
Mhm.
actually learn how to write a check, you learn how to balance a checkbook,
Yeah.
and you actually learn these skills. Today's society, and I do not want to generalize, but I have to because I've been around it. We teach our kids now how to be consumers. We
Mhm.
don't teach them how to
Mhm.
save. We don't teach them how to budget. We teach them how to use credit cards. And one of the things I know for sure is that when you go to college, they have all those credit card companies on the campuses because they have credit card day. And if you get a credit card, you actually get a mug, right? It's like, but they don't tell
It's
you.
crazy. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? But that's where it starts because they don't teach you how to budget. And you think, even though we know it, because as adults, we know finances and stuff, but they don't teach you that you have a limit. And every time you go over that limit, yes, they raise your limit, but they also charge you for going over.
Yeah.
And you have, before you know it, you have 6 credit cards and you're 19 and you're taking your friends out to eat. And anybody knows that eating out is extremely expensive,
Yes,
right? It's a
yeah.
treat. As an adult, I think I went to McDonald's maybe twice because one, we couldn't afford to go to McDonald's, and two, we had limited resources. So my mom cooked every day, and made that food stretch as much as possible. So I think to get them young, number one, to
Mhm.
teach them how to budget and say, we'll do a budget class. You have $200. Now you have to pay rent. You have to buy groceries. Of course, everybody wants a cell phone and they want the newest one. Everybody want a pair of Michael Jordans that start at $200,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So I think it's important that we teach them, not only it's not a microwave society, but
Mhm.
we have to save and learn to pay cash for something. If you cannot pay cash for it, do you really need it? And don't do impulse buying, because I know now with everything being online, it's so easy to sit in front of your computer and just buy, buy, buy. Even as
Mhm.
adults, we do that,
Mhm.
and I'm
Mhm.
not saying don't reward yourself, because I think rewarding yourself is important, but
Absolutely.
reward yourself with care is what I would say. And
Mhm.
I would love to partner with you and bring in some organization and let's do this. I don't, you know me,
I'm
Rita.
up for it. We're definitely going to have a discussion
Yeah,
there.
let's don't talk
I
about it.
can
Let's
see
be
how you
about
would
it.
like. So it's about the do and it's about the being. That was the other
Yes.
thing. Jen brought up the do. So it's the be and the do. How do we be? How are we showing up? And then what are the actions? Like how it's our attitude and it's our actions to create change around this. And so, like you said, Jen, tying it all together is you don't have to be rich with dollars. You just have to be rich with love and giving and ideas and action and just move that needle forward. And sometimes that like 1 degree of change changes the dynamic for a whole community like you're doing, Rosetta. So oh my gosh, you so touched my heart. I almost feel like tears are coming because that touches my heart because there is so much possibility there.
Yes.
And now we just get to share that vision. And for those that want to come on board, at least we're opening the door for them.
Right.
Whether it's these women so that they don't have to end up homeless in their cars with children, sick and homeless. Oh my gosh.
Isn't that a
Just
horrible
these
combination?
ideas in this day and age. I just, this is why I so admired you and said, oh my gosh, like I didn't even know about the whole boys and girls stuff thing. So I'm so moved yet again, I actually should be not to my surprise. And there's so many people in the world like this. There are so many organizations. I think one of the things that I'd like to inspire on this, you can never find out enough about philanthropic events. Go search them out. I mean, recently I got 3 philanthropic groups to attend 4 one event. One was Bloom Again, Rotary, Seroptimists, Kiwanians. There's what other ones? There's so many. Yes. Go out and see what kind of talent that you have that you can share. I'm going to say, I can almost guarantee you, I could probably guarantee you, actually, I'm going to be bold and say, I can guarantee you that if you start focusing on helping other people, the byproduct of the riches is you start to feel better about who you are.
Yes.
And I found that most people that during COVID that did get out and do philanthropic work were much more mentally secure and stable and sustained through the pandemic because they weren't focusing on what was happening to them, but about what they get to do to help others. And so it's such a big shift. And your examples today are huge ones. So I wanted to ask one of the misconceptions. What is one of the biggest misconceptions that you wanted to share around philanthropy? You shared one, but one more, maybe one tip. One misconception, one tip.
One more misconception, I believe, is nonprofits, really the money that they collect and the money that they get from fundraisings go directly to the nonprofits for administrative costs and not necessarily to the recipients. Well, I can guarantee you at Bloom Again, we give over 90% of our money will go to a woman in need. We have very little overhead. Our office and our admin will get paid a minimum amount, but 90%, I want to say 97% of the money that we collect go directly to the woman in need. I mean, absolutely. We work with strategic partners who refer them to us, and that money goes directly to them. And the great thing about Bloom Again is that when these partners come to us, they tell us what this woman needs and how long it's going to take her to get back on her feet to heal. So we give it to them once in a lifetime, of course, because we have to be sustainable. They ask for it, and it can be anywhere from $500 up to $13,000. So whatever they need to sustain their life and get back on their feet, that's what we do. So that's one misconception, is the money is used for administrative costs. Not in my organization, we do not.
There are many people can actually look that up.
Yes, absolutely.
What amount goes to administrative costs. So if you're ever concerned, and I'm going to say, be bold to say, it's usually the bigger organizations. The bigger they are, the bigger administrative costs. So sometimes helping a small niche philanthropic group that's probably in your local area, right? Because this is going out to everybody around the nation. Help people in your backyard help
Right.
people in your hometown. But get out and do something. It doesn't have to be just the monetary.
No, absolutely not. And that's one of the things that Jen touched on, and so do you. Monetary is definitely needed, don't get me
Of
wrong.
course.
But understand there is, if you ever go down to LA, there's so many homeless people. You could take food, you could take socks, you could take underwear. It's so much that you could do that if you don't want to give the money, that you can help in other ways. You can give your time,
Your
you
time
can,
is calling sponsors and getting
right,
sponsors because you don't have to do the
exactly.
socks or the underwear. You just get somebody to sponsor it, but
See?
somebody needs to go do the
Right,
asking. And you're not even
right.
asking for yourself. I find it easier to ask for other people than I do for myself. So,
Right.
you know,
Absolutely.
that's another way to get things done. And worst case scenario, somebody says a no, but if you don't ask,
You definitely won't get
you
it.
already got the no.
You're right. You definitely won't
It's
get
not the
it.
no you want.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I believe that, we all have a purpose and a passion in life. And I employ everyone that's listening to this podcast, find out what that passion is and what that purpose is. I promise you, we all have a gift. You just need to tap into it and use it.
Beautiful.
That's
So
great.
one last thing. What's one fun fact about Rosetta?
Ooh, one fun fact about me. I love to travel. I've been to 2 countries. I'm looking to go more. I travel domestically and international. And I love to work with my husband. My husband owns his own business. So in my really spare time, uh, I
Oh my gosh.
I work with him to when he needs me. He has his own, he own a transportation company, and I love movies, and believe it or not, I love theater, and I am an actress in my church. And of course, I haven't done any plays or anything probably in the last 2.5 years. So yeah,
Mhm.
so that's what fun thing. Some people don't think it's fun, but I do, because I love being someone else sometime and just
Mhm.
stepping outside of myself and saying, let's see what I can do. So that's my fun tip.
Very
Nice.
cool.
Thank you, Jen.
I like the fact that you actually have time to do all those things with everything else that you're doing. It's amazing.
Yep, you have to find time, and you know what, I do believe in self-care. And for me, giving back is part of my self-care. And of course I go get my nails done, my facials and my massages, that type of stuff. But giving back to me is my self-care, because I enjoy it so much that I can't imagine not helping someone else.
Beautiful. I love that. And I think with that, go out, be and do and share and help someone else. It just might be you in the end that gets the help that you
Thank you
didn't
for
know you
having
needed.
me.
Thank you
Yes,
for being here, Rosetta. Thanks,
thank you.
Jen. Super
Thank you.
excited. Thank you so much.